You moved differently yesterday. Do not lie to me. I saw it. And oh, more importantly, they saw it. One quiet little decision, one tiny shift in how you carried yourself. One moment where you stopped apologizing for simply existing in the room, and the whole world tilted, did it not? I have been watching people my entire life. The way they flinch, the way they shrink, the way they rehearse smallness like it is some kind of safety. But you, yesterday, you did not shrink. And now the air around you is different. The people who never noticed you are suddenly watching every move you make. The ones who smiled to your face are whispering in rooms you have not entered yet. Oh, do not be frightened. Be fascinated. Because what is happening to you right now, this strange, electric, dangerous shift, I have lived it. I know exactly where it leads. Oh, before I begin, one small thing. Hit that subscribe button. Not for me. I do not need the validation, I promise you that. But for you. Because what I'm about to tell you is the kind of thing people spend years and a considerable amount of pain learning on their own. You could just stay. And let me save you the trouble. Subscribe, turn the notification on, and do not go anywhere. This is going to be the most uncomfortably honest conversation you have had in a very long time. You have been warned, and now I am going to tell you every single thing they do not want you to know. They noticed the second you stopped needing their approval. Not when you succeeded, not when you won something, not when you finally proved yourself to a room full of people who had already decided what you were worth. No. They noticed the second before all of that. The moment your eyes stopped asking permission. I remember that moment for myself, standing in a room that smelled like old cigarettes and broken promises, looking at a man who had spent 15 minutes explaining why I would never amount to anything. And I just smiled, not because I was happy. Oh, not even close. But because something inside me had quietly, permanently stopped caring what that man thought. And he felt it. His sentence trailed off mid-word. He looked at me like I had just pulled the floor from beneath his feet without even touching him. That is the power they never warn you about. You see, people build entire architectures around your need for them. They hand you compliments like rations. Just enough to keep you dependent. Never enough to make you full. They position themselves as the door and convince you they are also holding the key. Oh, it is elegant, really. I admire the craftsmanship. A cage with no visible bars is still a cage, and you lived inside that construction for longer than you would like to admit. I am not judging you. I lived there too. I know the particular comfort of smallness. How it asks nothing of you, how it lets you blame the ceiling for the fact that you never learned to fly. But something cracked in you yesterday, a hairline fracture at first, then light got in, then you got dangerous. Here is what nobody tells you about change. The people closest to you feel it in their bodies before their minds catch up. Your mother, your oldest friend, that colleague who always spoke over you in meetings. They do not have the language for it yet. They just know something is wrong, wrong meaning different, wrong meaning no longer controllable. Oh, and here is where it gets interesting. They will not come to you with honesty. Honesty is for people who feel equal to you. No, they will come sideways. A comment dressed as a joke. A question shaped like a compliment with a blade hidden in the handle. You seem different lately, she said to me once, her voice sweet as powder coating over rust. I am, I told her, and I watched her smile not quite reach her eyes. She was terrified. Good. Now here is the first thing I need you to understand. And lean in close because I will not repeat it. Their discomfort is not your guilt to carry. The moment you changed, you did not betray them. You betrayed the version of you they had grown comfortable exploiting. There is a difference. A vast, echoing, cathedral-sized difference. The you they loved was convenient, predictable, available. Oh, the you that is emerging, that one they do not have a script for, that one keeps them up at night, staring at the ceiling, rearranging old conversations, trying to figure out where they lost their leverage. They will call it arrogance. They will call it attitude. They will call it, you have changed and not for the better. But what they mean, what they are really desperately trying to say, is that you have changed and they cannot keep up. And that, my friend, is not a problem you are obligated to solve. I learned that lesson the hard way, soaked in it actually. There was a night, cold enough that the window glass wept condensation, where I sat with every relationship I had ever held, and I asked each one a single question. Did you want me, or did you want my compliance? Oh, the silence that followed. That silence told me everything, and it will tell you everything too, if you are brave enough to ask it. Because the ones who stay quiet when you finally find your spine were never really standing beside you. They were standing on you. They have already made their first move. You just have not recognized it yet. That is the thing about people who feel threatened by your growth. They do not announce their intentions. They do not sit across from you and say, I am frightened of who you are becoming, so I have decided to quietly dismantle you. No, they bring you coffee. They ask how you are sleeping. They laugh a little too loudly at your jokes and watch your reaction like a scientist reading data off a screen. Oh, I know this performance intimately. I have sat across from it in flickering fluorescent light, in rooms that smelled like institutional soap and desperation dressed up as concern. I have had men in clean suits ask me gentle questions with predatory patience. The kindness was the weapon, and they never once lowered it. Here is what they are actually doing right now. The people in your life who felt that shift in you yesterday. They are auditing you, quietly cataloging every new behavior, every boundary you have started holding, every time you paused before saying yes instead of handing it over instantly like a reflex. They are building a case, not to confront you. Oh, most of them will never confront you directly. That would require courage, and courage is scarce in people who have spent years drawing power from your powerlessness. No. Their case is not for a courtroom, it is for a whisper network. Hallways, group chats, the particular silence that falls when you walk into a room 2 seconds after your name was leaving someone's mouth. I have walked into that silence 1,000 times. I used to flinch at it. Then one day, I started arriving for it. I want to tell you about a specific memory, because there is a smell attached to it that I have never been able to shake. Rain on hot concrete. That particular scent. I was 17, standing outside a building where people I trusted had just finished a conversation about me that I was never supposed to hear. Not cruel people. Not villains with sharp edges and obvious malice. Just ordinary people. The most dangerous kind, deciding in soft voices and reasonable tones that I was too much, too unpredictable, too intense, too difficult to contain inside the comfortable story they had written for me. He just needs to calm down, one of them said, like I was a weather system that required management. Oh, and here is the twist, the one that will sit with you long after this video ends. I did calm down for years. I folded myself into something smaller, something quieter, something that fit neatly inside their comfort, like a letter inside an envelope. And it almost killed me, not dramatically, not in one violent moment, slowly. the way a fire dies, not all at once, but ember by ember, until there is nothing left but gray. So when I tell you that what you did yesterday was significant, I am not flattering you, I am warning you. Because the path you have just stepped onto is real, and it is not painless. And the people who smile and say, "I am so proud of the person you are becoming," are not always the ones who mean it. Some of them are just buying time, repositioning, figuring out a new angle from which to reach you. Oh, do not look at me like that. I am not teaching you paranoia. I am teaching you precision. There is a difference, and that difference will save you from decades of misplaced loyalty. The ones who truly celebrate your becoming will not flinch when you set a boundary. They will not go quiet when you say no. They will not make you feel like your growth is an inconvenience they are generously tolerating. Watch for the flinch. It tells you everything the words conceal. Now here is where the game gets genuinely interesting. Because while they are auditing you, while they are mapping your new edges and testing your new limits, you have a window. A brief, beautiful, unrepeatable window to decide who you are before they finish deciding for you. This is the tactical truth they are terrified you will discover. Their power over you only exists inside the story they tell about you. Change the story. Oh, even slightly, even quietly, even in one conversation on one ordinary afternoon, and the entire architecture collapses. "You are not who I thought you were," he told me once, his voice carrying something between anger and grief. "No," I said, "I never was. You just stopped listening long enough to notice." He had no answer for that. Nobody ever does, because the truth, the one that lives underneath all the noise, underneath all the whispers and the audits and the soft, strategic kindnesses, is that they built their comfort on a version of you that no longer exists. And grief is a funny thing. People grieve the loss of their control the same way they grieve everything else, with anger first, then bargaining, then a slow, reluctant acceptance that rearranges their face into something almost like respect. Almost. Oh, you will see it. Give it time. They are grieving you, not the new you, the old one, the one who returned every call within the hour, the one who rearranged their own schedule to fill the gaps in someone else's comfort, the one who swallowed opinions whole and smiled through the aftertaste. That person is gone. And oh, nobody held a funeral, but everybody felt the loss. I know because I have been the ghost at my own memorial. I have sat in rooms full of people who were laughing, talking, performing normalcy, and felt the precise weight of my own absence pressing against the walls. They missed who I was before I woke up. Not who I was for them. There is a cruelty in that distinction that took me years to fully feel. Let me tell you what waking up actually costs. Not the poetic version, not the montage version where the music swells and the light shifts gold and everyone eventually understands. The real version, the one with bad lighting and no score. You lose things. Not dramatically. Not in one clean severance you can point to and name. You lose things the way a coastline erodes, so gradually that you only notice when you look back and realize how much land is gone. A friendship that simply stops returning energy. A family dinner that grows quieter each year. A mentor who starts giving their wisdom to someone more agreeable, someone easier to mold. Oh, I am not telling you this to discourage you. I am telling you this because nobody warned me, and I deserved the warning. What is coming is worth it. But you need to walk into it with your eyes completely open. Not the romantic squint of someone who believes growth is painless. Growth is the operation. The losses are the recovery. I want to give you a sensory memory now, because some truths only land when they arrive through the body first. There was a particular chair, wooden, uneven leg, sitting room of a house I no longer have any reason to visit. I used to sit in that chair and perform the version of myself that was required of me in that space. Agreeable, self-deprecating, careful never to take up more air than I had been silently allocated. I was good at it. Oh, I was exceptionally good at it. And one evening, a woman in that room looked at me, really looked, the way people rarely do, and said, "You are always so calm. I wish I had your patience." And I remember thinking, this is not patience. This is suffocation wearing a pleasant expression. I never sat in that chair again. Here is the twist that will rearrange something inside you, and I need you to sit with it rather than rush past it. The person they are mourning never truly existed. I know. Let that breathe for a moment. The compliant, endlessly available, apologetically small version of you that they are grieving right now. That was not your authentic self. That was a survival strategy so old, so deeply grooved into your behavior that even you mistook it for personality. Oh, I made the same mistake. For an embarrassingly long time, I confused my performance with my identity. I thought the mask was the face. This is just who I am, I used to say, and I meant it completely, which is the saddest part. Because the things we do to survive a painful environment have a terrible habit of outlasting the environment itself. The prison leaves. The prisoner remains, walking free on the outside but still obeying walls that dissolved years ago. That is what they are mourning, your prison. Because your prison was their privilege. When you were contained, when you were predictable, when you operated within the boundaries they helped construct around you, they felt safe, generous even. Oh, there it is. The ethical core of the whole arrangement, the thing nobody will ever say out loud at that dinner table, or in that office, or in that friendship. They did not love you despite your limitations. Some of them loved you because of them, because a limited you made an unlimited them, because a doubting you made a certain them, because a shrinking you gave an expanding them all the room they needed. And now you have taken the room back. Just a little, just enough to breathe differently, just enough that your silhouette no longer fits the shape they carved for you, and they do not know what to do with that. So they call it a phase, they call it stress, they call it something must have happened to them, because the alternative, the idea that you simply decided to stop being diminished, is too confronting to accept. Because if you could simply decide, then so could they, and they have not, and they know it. Oh, that quiet, devastating knowledge sits at the back of every conversation they are currently having about you. You are not just changing, you are holding up a mirror. And some people would rather break the mirror than examine what it shows them. But you already knew that, did you not? Somewhere beneath the noise of their reaction, beneath the sideways comments and the loaded silences and the carefully deployed concern, you knew. Because people who are genuinely happy with their own lives do not spend this much energy on yours. Now comes the part nobody prepared you for, not the resistance, not the whispers, not the slow erosion of relationships built on the bedrock of your compliance. You were ready for those. Somewhere in your bones, you always knew those were coming. No, the part nobody prepared you for is what happens inside you once the shift becomes permanent. Because change does not just rearrange the people around you, it rearranges the architecture of your own mind. The rooms you used to live in, the guilt room, the apologize for existing room, the wait for permission before speaking room, those rooms still exist. Oh, they do not disappear. Do not let anyone sell you that comfortable lie. They just lose their furniture, and you have to learn to walk through them without sitting down out of habit. I want to tell you what the first weeks feel like, because I remember mine with the kind of clarity usually reserved for accidents and revelations. It feels like wearing a coat you have outgrown. You reach for old behaviors, the deflection, the over-explanation, the instinct to immediately soften any sentence that contains a boundary, and they are still there, waiting, patient as old dogs. Oh, and sometimes you put the coat on anyway, not because it fits, but because the cold is unfamiliar and the coat, however uncomfortable, is known. "I am sorry, I did not mean to," I started saying once, mid-sentence, to someone who had just spoken to me like I was furniture. And I stopped, right in the middle of the apology, left it hanging there in the air between us like smoke. And I thought, what exactly am I sorry for? I could not find an answer, so I did not finish the sentence. And the silence that followed was the loudest thing I had said in years. Here is the moment the script truly flips. And this is the twist I have been saving, the one that lives underneath all the others like a foundation stone. You are not becoming someone new. You are becoming someone old. Ancient, actually. The version of you that existed before the world got its hands on you and began its long, patient work of making you easier to manage. Think back far enough, past the adaptations, past the learned smallness, past the scar tissue of 100 small surrenders, and there is a child in there who had no concept of shrinking, who spoke without rehearsing, who wanted without apologizing, who took up space with the magnificent unconscious authority of someone who has not yet been taught that their presence requires justification. Oh, that child did not disappear. They just went very quiet and waited. And what is happening to you right now, this dangerous, electric, destabilizing shift, is that child clearing their throat. I remember the exact object. A small photograph, creased down the middle where it had been folded and kept in a pocket for too long. A boy in it, 7, maybe 8, laughing at something outside the frame. Completely unguarded. Not performing, not managing anyone's perception of him, just existing at full volume. I looked at that photograph for a long time. And then I looked in the mirror, and I asked the man staring back at me when exactly he had learned to make himself so quiet. He did not answer immediately. Oh, but he answered eventually. And the answer was a list of names. Every name on that list had at some point handed me a very reasonable explanation for why I should be less. And I had accepted every one. Graciously, gratefully even. Like a man thanking someone for the privilege of his own diminishment. So here is what I need you to understand as this particular confession draws toward its end. What you did yesterday was not small. I know it felt small. I know it looked like nothing from the outside. One quiet decision, one fractional shift in posture, one moment of not collapsing inward on cue. But the people around you did not react to something small. They reacted to a signal, a frequency you have not broadcast in years, or perhaps ever. The signal that says, I am no longer available for the version of this relationship in which I am the one who disappears. Oh, And that signal travels. Faster than words, deeper than explanation. Straight into the nervous system of everyone who had built something on top of your silence. Now they have a choice. Evolve alongside you, which requires them to examine their own part in the arrangement. And that is excruciating work that most people will do anything to avoid or resist. Reframe your growth as damage, your clarity as coldness, your boundaries as betrayal. Most will choose resistance. Not because they are evil. Oh, evil requires commitment, but because comfort is seductive and accountability is not. I do not even recognize you anymore, someone will say, and you will smile, not cruelly, not with triumph, but with the particular quiet of someone who has finally been seen accurately for the first time. Good, you will say, and you will mean it completely. Because the you they recognized was never truly you. It was the agreement you made when you were too young or too tired or too desperate for belonging to negotiate better terms. That agreement has expired. You did not renew it yesterday. And oh, the world is already rearranging itself around that fact. One flinch, one loaded silence, one recalibrated relationship at a time. This is not the end of something. This is the part in the story that everything before it was quietly leading toward. You moved differently yesterday. They noticed. And now the only question that matters, the only question that has ever mattered, is whether you are ready to notice yourself. Oh, and one more thing. The people who worked hardest to keep you small, they already know what you are capable of. That is precisely why they tried.